Good afternoon, everybody. I am Commissioner Bill Gaughan, along with Commissioner Tom Welby, and we are bringing you a program today to talk about something very, very special, an upcoming basketball tournament in memory of Bill Gerrity, with the second annual. Last year was the first, and the county is very proud to sponsor this tournament. And we have with us today Pat Ahern and Mary Lou Grogan, who is going to talk to us about the tournament and how it came to be, and talk about Bill Gerrity and his impact on our community. So thanks for being with us. We really appreciate it. And first question for you guys is, tell us about the tournament, how it came to be, and why it's so special.
Okay, I'll take that one. The William J. Gerrity Team Player Scholarship Awards has been going on for a long time, okay? And it's a program where 2 high school seniors receive a $1,000 scholarship at the end of the basketball season. So in order to fund that, the volunteers who support that effort have been doing different things over the years. So last year we thought, you know, a 7th and 8th grade basketball tournament would be perfect. And we asked the county, you know, if you would sponsor it, and you did. And Mary Lou and myself and all the volunteers were so lucky to get the county to sponsor that. But that's how it came about. We needed something that would honor Mr. Gerrity and raise funds for that scholarship program. And this does both.
That's great. So tell us, when is the tournament? Give us the times and what teams are involved in the tournament.
Well, it's December 26th at Scranton High School from 9 to 1, and then December 29th, which is a Monday, from 9 to 1 at Scranton High School. There'll be 8 teams involved. Each team will get 1 game. And we have 3 Scranton intermediate schools, right? North, East, South, West Scranton, boys and girls teams. And then we have Dunmore, Forest City, Riverside, and Mid-Valley. So it's you know, it's going to be a nice group of schools.
That's great. That sounds really good. So for people who did not know Mr. Gerrity like we knew Mr. Gerrity, could you tell us what he was like and why we're having this tournament in his honor? And I should have mentioned at the top of the program that Mary Lou, that was your father, so this is very special to you. So if you could just tell us about him and what he meant to you and a lot of other people throughout the community.
Thank you for that. You know, I think Pat, Jack O'Malley, Bill Laser, the guys that are on the committee had my dad in school. Many of them emulated him and went into careers as educators, sports officials, public servants, and he was very lucky with that. He stayed as a mentor and a role model for his students for decades. And throughout his career, they honored him with a scholarship at the University of Scranton. He was honored with a park in North Scranton. The group of students that my dad had at North were just very loyal to him. And when my dad passed, this same group said, you know, we want to keep his legacy alive for young people to understand the importance of sports and teamwork and discipline and being active in your community and giving everything your all. And I've got to give credit to these guys. They put in the hard work and they established first the Team Player Award, which is what my dad was all about. He never liked that and Pat can talk a little bit more about that, but he never liked that show-off. He liked the person that was willing to sacrifice for the team, do their best, be scrappy, and that's what the Team Player Award is about, and that reaches out throughout northeastern Pennsylvania to award a high school boy and girl senior basketball athlete. And as a part of that, the committee said, let's raise more awareness. So that my dad, when he coached at North, it was junior high, but it was up until 10th grade. It was a whole different dynamic. But he loved, and Pat as a gym teacher knows that, my dad stressed the fundamentals in anything. And so when they said that they were doing a junior high basketball tournament so that young, teenagers that are getting their feet wet with the game, and so much emphasis on AAU, which not everyone in the community can do, but can play in their local teams. That just has meant the world to our family. I mean, if my dad was alive today, he would be 100. So not too many in the people in the community know him as well, and this keeps that memory alive. And hopefully these young players that are at the tournament, they're going to strive to maybe have their name on that Team Player Award senior year, a goal to work for. Goal to work for.
That's great.
That's a very good point. Yeah.
So, Pat, you were one of Mr. Gerrity's students, correct? Mm-hmm. So tell us about what he was like as a gym teacher and as a coach. And
he introduced me to gymnastics, and in junior high school. We never even heard the word gymnastics, never mind about the sport. But he had us all in gym class doing gymnastics. And we had to put on a gymnastics show every year. And I think he was one of the only ones around who ever did that. And that got me interested later on in my years. I had a gymnastics program. But that was the kind of gym teacher he was. As far as a coach, okay, he wanted to win. I'm not going to lie to you. He wanted to win. And there's nothing wrong with that, and he used to teach us there's nothing wrong with wanting to win. And he put the work into it. He put the work in. He worked harder than we did, I can guarantee you that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
do you remember a lesson that he might have taught you or some of the other boys when he was teaching and coaching? What's one thing that really stuck with you that he kind of left with you?
Well, he always stressed that what we were doing was not the end thing, not the end of the game. It was the school. And he was really strict about the school, and I mean, we weren't really that interested in school, but he said, if you don't do well, you don't play. And he always said basketball and baseball. He was also our baseball coach. He was a great baseball coach. And he said it's a means to an end. It's not the end in itself. He used to stress that all the time.
Right. Commissioner Welby and I were talking before the program started about all the times that we heard people talk about the infamous Gerrity practices. Can you tell us about those? Well,
it would be 3 hours. First of all, it was always you get out of school at 3:30, you're in the gym, and you're there till 6:30, And that in itself was tough, and you were moving the whole time. He was very organized, which he was like that in life too. He was involved with so many different, activities and groups and so forth in his later years, because he was organized,
Very much so.
So.
I think one of the things when my dad died, and I was honored to give the eulogy, and I said that my father penned the phrase, "Just do it," long before Nike did. And that's how he felt about things, that if you were going to do it, give it your all and do it right, and accept the outcome, and he learned that in politics and he learned that in sports. But my father could go to bed at night and know that he gave, whether it was a board or his role on city council or as a teacher, as a coach, he gave it his all. And he was that way in our home environment. My father was a tremendous cook. He would have 50, 60, 70 people and could manage a meal and a guest list. And he was, sometimes it was really hard to try to emulate that and follow in his footsteps because, to Pat's point, he was very well organized. And that's something that, again, trying to teach and share with others.
Right, yeah. So talk to us. I always found Mr. Gerrity fascinating as somebody who was on city council as a young guy, that he was a gym teacher, he was a coach, he did so many things in the community, and he was also a councilman for, I believe, 3 terms, right?
Correct.
Talk to us as someone who grew up with him. How was his public service career, and how did that impact your family, and how did he handle all those different things?
We laugh about that. Thanksgiving dinner was always centered around, he officiated 2 football games on Thanksgiving. He was commissioner of the Big 11, so in those days he couldn't, prior to that he officiated in this area and was very well known. But then when he became commissioner, he had to officiate down in Mount Carmel or Berwick or wherever, and so dinner could have been at 6 o'clock, but that was the life that we grew up with. He taught driver ed. He ran the summer playgrounds. There was nothing he really did not do and not do well, but he was a wonderful father. He was very family orientated, a tremendous cook. We used to have pasta dinners at the house for his basketball teams. And then he also was always a committee man, a Democratic committee man, as was his father before him. And he really, my father's main thing, and Pat knows this for sure, he really could not tolerate complainers. He could not tolerate people that whined about situations but did nothing to impact change. And so in the early 60s, which was kind of a tumultuous time in national politics, 1965, my father served his first term on council. And that was a big time for the city of Scranton. That was all the pools, but it was also the mine subsidence. There was a lot going on. And I mean, my father could go from a city council meeting to refereeing a game to coming home and making a pot of sauce and doing it all. He was just able to juggle a lot of balls. He took a real interest in the police and fire department, which he's really well known for, and was really a proponent for those guys. He lost after his first term. There was a major shift in politics in the city, but then he ran again and then served 2 terms later in the 80s. But he loved this community. He loved Scranton. He loved the people of Scranton. He loved giving back. He felt that everyone should be that cheerleader for Lackawanna County. Yeah. And he would be dismayed if you were not.
Right.
So.
Yeah, definitely.
I talked to him a little bit about that, when we were a little older. And like you guys, he ran for office and stayed in office if he could, because he thought he could get more done than, without being in office. And I mean, I think that's something that you two would know, that feeling, that you want to be involved because you know you can do some good. I read what you said in the paper when you got elected, Tom, and that's so true, because I know you. And I think Mr. Gerrity and yourself and Bill Gaughan would have a lot in common, because you're one of those, you're people that you want to do something that's good. And politics, you can do a lot of good. You're in a power position,
He did. He lived that life. He truly lived that life. And it's part of the reason that I wanted to sit down here with you. I hesitate being here with you because this is about something that I haven't been involved in at all in the past. But when you talk about Mr. Gerrity, and it's funny, as someone gets older, we call them by their first name, but not Mr. Gerrity. It's Mr. Gerrity. And his character, his involvement, and his positivity and encouraging people to be involved and to lead by example. And also, I used to admire him as Mr. Impeccable. I mean, he just looked absolutely fabulous. I suspect up at his house, which was also one of the best maintained yards and houses in the city, but I would imagine he was doing his gardening work with his suit and tie on. He was just no matter when you saw him, but he was such a fabulous role model, and I wanted to be here to be part of that. And I mean, his involvement in politics and encouraging other people to stay involved and not be a whiner, to, you know, don't complain about something, stand up and do something about it. Just what a fabulous guy. Now, with the tournament that you all are responsible for in his name is also fabulous. Getting kids out that otherwise wouldn't have that opportunity to play. There's a line tournament, that's for the older kids, and there's 3-on-3, but that's not for the teams, so to speak. And you're giving these kids the opportunity to get together and play again, and play together, and play against their friends, and also to put down their handheld objects and get out of the house and be involved in something physical. So you all first honoring Mr. Gerrity as we all should honor him and remember him every day for all the good that he did and the good that we do now as a result of the influence that he had on us. But your involvement in this tournament and having this opportunity for kids to get out and enjoy themselves and also play to win.
Oh yeah, I mean, last year the kids, right? We noticed they weren't looking at the clock. You know, they weren't looking at the scoreboard. They were playing in their backyard, just wanting to win, wanting to score. You know, and when the game was over, none of them even really, you know, paid much attention to who won, who didn't. They just wanted to play on that big court and they wanted to play basketball. Now, some of those kids will go on, like Mary Lou said, and they'll be great high school players. So it's good to see them at this age group, you know.
Do you, as we're talking here, and when you talk about your dad, I'm thinking of my own grandparents, and Tom and I have talked within the last couple of weeks about, you know, him being one of 13 and his parents and just that generation. Do you think that had something to do with your dad's upbringing? Obviously, his parents, and it's something about that generation of how tough they were and the different obstacles and challenges that they had to go through. Can you talk to that?
Absolutely. You know, my father served in World War II, went to college on the GI Bill. He and his two sisters all went to college, which back in the 40s, you know, was not always the norm. And all three of them became school teachers in the areas that they excelled. It's always funny. My Aunt Florence was a music teacher, my Aunt Alice was a home ec teacher, and my dad was the phys ed teacher. And they really believed strongly in the American dream, and that they had the opportunity to go to college and the sacrifices that their parents made for them. And, you know, my dad always told the story. His first teaching job was $100 a month. You know, teachers, you know, they're still not paid adequately, but growing up with a father as a school teacher, there was a lot of, as I said, he coached every sport and officiated every game there was to make extra money for the family. But that definitely had a strong impact, his work ethic. And then in his later years, his work on so many boards. My father always rooted for the underdog. And I think that is that generation. You know, I think we need more emphasis on pulling others up, giving each other the tools. And, you know, Pat and many of his former students became officials, became phys ed teachers, have done very, very well. One of the largest compliments paid to me about someone that had my dad in school, he wasn't a good athlete, you know, and he said, but your father never asked us to do anything he wouldn't do himself. You know, he was always willing to get down and do the push-up, play the game, help you, show you the way. And I think doing this junior high tournament, showing these young athletes how fun competition is and camaraderie and being on that big court, it seems small, but I think it has a huge impact.
Definitely. Oh, it definitely does. What do you hope that the young people who will be in this tournament coming up in the middle of December, what do you hope they learn playing in that tournament and from the stories that they'll hear about your dad and Mr. Gerrity, Pat? Well,
we are trying to use the tournament to promote the Team Player Awards. There's no question about it. And when it comes time for the Team Player Awards, we do talk more about what it takes, you know, to be a team player. But I think that's the main issue. Is I mean, look at in politics. If you don't work as a team, you don't get anything done, and you don't win. You know, so I think that, you know, Mary Lou's right. You know, he was able to get people to work together. You know, and hopefully the kids, you know, can learn something like that. You know.
Definitely. I was there last year, and you talked before about the kids not looking at the scoreboard, just playing so hard. It was great last year to see all the families that came out. That was what impressed me more than anything. Families, the stands were packed, and you just got the sense that this really was something special, especially in Scranton High School with the new scoreboard, and there was pictures and of Mr. Gerrity and kind of his story and why it was so important. So we're really looking forward to it, and we're excited about it. Was there anything else that you wanted to add about the tournament?
As I said, I didn't have any brothers. I only have one sister, but I always said I had about 1,000 brothers due to all of the boys from North Scranton that were so loyal and kind to my dad. Last year was the inaugural year, and this year we're really going to make sure that those young players get a lot of emphasis. You know, a chance to have their pictures and the rosters out, things that, you know, trying to get the games and everything else figured out last year, we've got that, but really a strong emphasis on these young kids. And, you know, kudos to their parents, most of whom are all working parents, and trying to get them out the doors and to practice so that we really give them the recognition that they deserve. So they really come away from the tournament, you know, feeling very special, and that it was a great experience for them and that they want to continue.
Absolutely. What do you think your dad would say if he could be in the stands at this tournament?
My dad was always embarrassed when there was an award or anything done in his name. But I said to them, this would be the one thing that he would give absolutely 1,000% endorsement to. You know, in his later years when I would be driving him to appointments or out to dinner, and he'd look at playgrounds and lots, and he'd be like, nobody's playing wiffle ball, nobody's playing one-on-one, where are these kids? Right. He still, you know, was a fierce competitor to the end. I could still never win at cards. We couldn't win at anything with him. He would really be thrilled with this, and just really encouraging parents and young people to spend less time indoors in front of their phones or TVs and more time out in the community, active, whatever it is that you like to do. You know, for the mental and the physical benefits of it. My father, that was a proponent of it, and he lived to be almost 91, and his sister, my Aunt Florence, is still alive at 105. Wow. So I believe that there's some real benefits to keeping active.
And you just mentioned something that spurred something in my head. Your dad was a big proponent for the Special Olympics.
Absolutely.
Can you talk about, he had a big impact in the community on that. Can you talk to us about that?
He did, and Pat knows from the school district level, when my dad left the classroom, became supervisor of health, safety, and physical education for the Scranton School District, he really implemented a very strong Special Olympics program. They said it was second to none. Yeah. And every student was involved in the Scranton School District, and because the Scranton School District is so large, they had their own Special Olympics program. And with buddy systems and other students getting involved, and they did it for basically every sport, right, Pat?
Yeah.
And very, very active committee. And then, you know, my dad was one of the founders of the Deutsche Institute, which since 1979 has provided recreation and leisure services for individuals with special needs in a 5-county area. And he just believed in the power of friendship, camaraderie, doing an activity, whatever it is that you enjoy. And Special Olympics was just an evolution of everything, and it really brought him great joy in his later years, but I think it also in turn brought great joy to many others. The phys ed teachers, the special ed teachers in the school district, they just had a wonderful committee that ran a wonderful program, and that's something that he was very proud of, and we are of as a family. And I'm president of the Deutsch Board now since my dad passed, and it's very hard to fill his footsteps, and but I'm trying hard, because there is a need in the community for that.
Absolutely, definitely. Well, we're so excited for this tournament coming up. Remind our viewers now who will be watching this program about the dates and times and location.
It's day after Christmas, Friday the 26th at Scranton High School from 9 to 1, and then the following Monday from 9 to 1, again at Scranton High School.
Okay, we're looking forward to it. Commissioner Welby, any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
Just thank you for sharing this. This is just fabulous. And it's great to listen to and talk about Mr. Gerrity, who lives so strong in our hearts, and not just us, I mean everybody in the region.
Definitely. So we want to thank Pat Ahern and Mary Lou Grogan for putting this tournament together, all the work that they've done, and it's great to honor Mr. Gerrity, and we look forward to seeing everybody at this tournament. I was there last year, and the county's happy to sponsor it, and we're looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing all the families around Lackawanna County participate. So thank you very much, and we'll see you on the 26th.